What is up, everybody? It is your girl Christina, aka Tu Vecina Favorita que Maquilla. Today's video is not going to be a tutorial, which, by the way, if you're new to my channel, I primarily do makeup tutorials and beauty related type stuff. So if you're interested in seeing how I did this look, you can check out my last video because I did do a tutorial on this look. So today's topic, I will be speaking on the topic of being Afro-Latina. Now, I know I am kind of late on speaking on this, and I know most of the videos that were done on this topic were done like last year or a year ago. But as many of you may know, the new season of Love and Hip Hop Miami just premiered. So this topic has kind of resurfaced just a bit, of course, because of Amara la Negra. So I thought now would probably be a good time to speak on this. So I was looking through some of the comments on Amara's Instagram page, and just reading through the comments as I usually do. And she always gets a lot of haters talking crap on her page. But anyway, so I saw one person say that Amara has been using this whole being black thing and black power and all this to try and appeal to the African American audience. They're basically saying that it has just been a tactic or a strategy on Amara's end to try and cross over into the American market. Now, if some of you don't know, Amara had already been known in DR, and I guess maybe in some other parts of Latin America, so she wasn't like brand new to the scene, but she wasn't really known in the US yet. So they were saying, oh, this was just her way to try to appeal to black people here. Now, and then I also saw somebody else say, you over here trying to, sympathize with African American people's struggles here. You over here saying black this, black that, but then you also want to claim Latina. Like, how can you claim that you're black and also want to claim that you're Latina? And I'm like, bruh, look, like the concept of being black and being Latina, like it's not that hard to understand, okay? Black is the race. Okay, in Amara's case, black is the race, Hispanic, Latina is the ethnicity, Dominican is the nationality. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, that's it. Okay? Now, what is an Afro-Latina or Latina? The simplest way I can put it is a person that comes from a Latin American country with predominantly African ancestry. Okay? Now, I say predominantly because all of Latin America is extremely mixed. The three main things we're mixed with is European, African, and Native American. And then there's varying degrees of those mixtures within each country. You have certain countries that are way more European and Native American, like in Central America and those countries. And you have countries, for example, like in the Caribbean, that are way more mixed with like European and African, especially African. And of course, DR is one of those countries. DR has a very high, amount of African ancestry. So Amara being Afro-Latina, that's not surprising at all. So it's kind of like, at this point in time, I don't understand why it is hard for some people to understand that there are other people in the world outside of the US and Africa itself, The past year, I've seen a lot of people saying things like, oh, now y'all want to claim that you black. Oh, now that it's trendy or it's cool to be black, now y'all want to claim Afro-Latina this, Afro-Latina that. It's like, no. Let's get something straight. We've been here. We've been knowing what the deal is, okay? Most of us, Latinas, like with high African ancestry or whatever, or that are from countries that have a high amount of African ancestry, we've been knowing what's up, okay? It's just now it's coming to the forefront and people are more aware. And so, yeah, now certain people are claiming that title, Afro-Latina, whereas before, I guess we didn't really have a name for it. We just knew that's what we are. Like, it's never been a thing that we didn't know we were black or that we had black and that's not all of a sudden we know. Like, no. We've been knowing. It's just that y'all now know. So I also wanted to just speak a little bit on my experience, being an Afro-Latina and things of that nature. So, growing up, I think I grew up pretty much like any typical Hispanic kid in this country. My parents were both born in the Dominican Republic and they migrated over here. So I was born here. So yeah, I grew up, apparently my first language was Spanish, which makes sense considering my parents are both, native Spanish speakers, and they were both speaking to me in Spanish. So in my, first formative years, I was primarily speaking Spanish. And it wasn't until I got into school that I think English really started to take over. So yeah, I grew up speaking Spanish. I grew up eating Dominican food, listening to Dominican music. I learned to dance merengue and bachata from a very early age, which I think is normal for Dominican kids. So, I mean, I just had the normal upbringing of any Dominican kid. I watched a whole lot of novelas growing up, which I probably shouldn't have. I watched Luz Clarita, La Usurpadora, María la del Barrio, Salomé, Rubí, a whole bunch of them. And looking back, I was probably too young to be watching some of those novelas, but I watched it anyway because my mom watched them, and then I just got into it. I was literally watching novelas back to back from 7 to 9 every single day, Monday through Friday. It was bad. Oh my God, Amor Real, that was another favorite of mine. So yeah, typical Hispanic kid upbringing. And so it wasn't until I got to school, not the first years of elementary, but I'd say more, maybe starting around 5th grade. That is when I kind of started noticing a slight difference. So, okay, let me backtrack a little. So my parents, I have one parent who was lighter, my mom, and my dad who was darker. And then both of my parents have one parent who was light and one parent who was dark. So for me, growing up, seeing both light-skinned and dark-skinned people, or Hispanics, that was always a totally normal thing to me. And if you move on even further to my extended family, my family literally covers the entire spectrum of skin colors, from super light to super dark and everything in between. So for me, seeing all those different shades of people, it was always a totally normal thing. Now, moving back to, like I said, 5th, 6th grade. So the area that I grew up in, I've been living in Northern Virginia my whole life. So there is a very large Hispanic population here, but there are not a whole lot of Dominicans here, or Cubans or Puerto Ricans. So, I mean, they're here, but there's just not a whole lot of them. The Hispanic population here is overwhelmingly Central American and a lot of South America. So we got mass Salvadorians, a lot of Mexicans, Guatemalans, a lot of Bolivians, a lot of Peruvians, all those countries. So, apart from my family and maybe 5 Dominicans I could count maybe that went to my high school, if that, I didn't see a lot of other Hispanics that looked like me. So growing up, like I said, even starting from elementary school, I never felt like I quite fit in with the other Hispanic kids because I didn't look like them. And half the time, they didn't even know I was Hispanic. Most kids just assumed that I was African American. So I never really felt like I fit in with them. And then with the black kids, in my mind, I always felt okay, I was kind of different because I knew, okay, I'm Dominican, I'm Hispanic, they're African American. So there's a difference there. However, I just naturally kind of gravitated towards them because in my mind, I was especially as a kid, I was well, I'm brown, you look like me, I look like you want to be friends, So that kind of, I feel carried on, as I got older too. I just naturally made friends with more African Americans than I did on other Hispanics. Now, with that being said, one of my legit very best friends is Salvadorian. So it's not I didn't have any Hispanic friends at all. But my clique, because yes, I was in a clique in high school, was predominantly black. So, and I would say high school was when I actually started getting questioned about my ethnicity. That's when people started actually noticing, okay, there's something different about her. She doesn't look quite like your typical, I don't even want to say that, but African American, but something's different. And when it comes down to it, I'm gonna just keep it real. It was because of my hair. And I had a lot of girls hate on me because of my hair. I'm not gonna lie, I did. But that was what caused people to question. So that's when I started getting the, are you mixed? Like, are you mixed with black with something else? And, you know, I literally remember someone said, like, I didn't know there was black Spanish people. And look, I know Spanish is not the correct term to refer to Hispanic people. I know it because we're not from Spain. We're not directly from Spain. It's just the word that people use when referring to Hispanic people. So yes, I use it sometimes too, even though I know it's not correct. But I'm just telling you what was said. So they were like, yeah, I didn't know there was such thing as black Spanish people. And I was like, really? But again, I can't entirely blame them because again, in this area, there's not a whole lot of us. So people weren't used to being exposed to or seeing dark-skinned Hispanics. And so that, you know, was kind of my struggle growing up. You know, I never felt like I quite fit in with the Hispanics. And I mean, I fit in pretty well with the, you know, with the African Americans, but there was always like that difference there. But either way, it was never an issue or anything like that. And if anything, like my black girlfriends, like, you know, I've taught some of them how to learn how to dance bachata. You know, they've come to learn how to, you know, like some of the like Dominican food and stuff like that. So it's not like an issue or anything. Well, that was just more so, you know, my experience. So I did an ancestry DNA test, which I also did a video for, which I'll post a link to that. So based on their estimates, I am 52% African, 40% European, and 8% Native American. So I know, at least for me, in my case, like 52 and 40, I'm actually pretty even between both, kind of. But either way, African is the predominant thing here. So that is why I claim to be Afro-Latina. And at the end of the day, I've always just felt more of a pull to that, I guess, Africanness or blackness in me. And I've always said, you know, this is not to talk down to any other, you know, Hispanics out there, but, you know, like for us Caribbeans, I feel like that African influence is what makes us lit. Like, that is why our music is so, like, loved by everyone and just so fun to dance to. And, like, just the if lo que tenemos, you know, it's just, it's because of that, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, for all those people that say, you know, Dominica's always denying their blackness and we don't want to be black and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look, no me digan mi cosa vaina, all right? Like, I don't want to hear it. You know, we know what's up. The difference is just that, like, in DR, people don't focus so much on race. If you're Dominican, you're Dominican. Like, sure, people may, you know, allude to your skin color and, you know, they might call you prieto if you're really dark, or, you know, negra, whatever. But, you know, negra is actually also a term of endearment. My mom calls me negra. But, you know, it's just different. I don't know. But yeah, so I think people just need to know we've been here. And, you know, a lot of the issue, and I think, and actually I have to give Amara props on this, and because she spoke out on this, is that dark-skinned Hispanics have been and still are so underrepresented in the media. And I'm not just talking about what is shown like in Hollywood or to the American audience. Like, even within Latin America, there's not a lot of us on TV. We don't see us, you know, in the novelas and in the big time movies and stuff like that. Like, we just don't. For example, Mexican novelas are like the #1 novela seen in Latin America, okay? And I can count, like, if I just kind of briefly think of all the novelas I've watched in my lifetime, there's maybe like 3 black people, maybe 4, that I've seen in them. And they were usually either the help or like somebody from the barrio. There was also the black chick that was in Betty La Fea, the Colombian version, and then Chica La Silva, that was a Brazilian. But that novela was set in like colonial slave time. So, but yeah, we're just not really out there on an international level. Now, because I happen to come from a country where there are so many black people, you know, from a young age, I was exposed to artists and musicians and things like that that are dark skins, like, Anthony Santo, Johnny Ventura, Luis Vargas, all them people, like, they're dark skinned. They look, you can tell there's black in there. But that's because I happen to come from a country that has so many black people. But that's just in DR. That's not on an international level, So, I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like if you ask people from other peoples of the world, what they think of when they think of a Latina, they're probably going to think of, J-Lo or Shakira, the typical light-skinned brunette, fiery brunette, maybe blonde, I don't know. They're not going to think of a dark-skinned girl when they think of a Latina. They're just not. And it's unfortunate because, like I said, we out here, and we are a big chunk of the Hispanic population. So, yeah, that was my 2 cents on the situation. Yeah, I mean, I'm on the one hand, although there is so much like debate and people talking trash about this whole Afro-Latina thing, and they think it's just a fad and something that we're claiming now because it's cool, like, nah, bro, calm down. But I'm glad that it's at least coming to light, and someone like Amara can use her platform to bring more awareness. I also got to give a big shout out to Monica Style Muse. If you guys don't know who she is a Dominican YouTuber / beauty influencer, and she is really putting us on the map. I'm so proud of her. She's also spoke out about this because she's, Morenita, and she's Dominican. And, she talked about how she's been told she was too dark to be Dominican, which I'm like, what? Like, what? Who told you this? Like, whoever told you that was ignorant AF. Okay, because if there's one Hispanic country that has mad black people, it is DR. So that's just bananas. But who's another one? I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. It's like Edie something. She's from Panama. She's another Afro-Latina putting us out there. So, there's quite a few. And it's always refreshing to be able to see, other girls that look like me, that not just dark skin, but that are, Hispanic as well, that can relate to, on both ends. So yeah, that was my take on the situation. I don't want to make this video too long, but yeah, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit that subscribe button down below. If you want to see more tutorials on this look or just any looks I've done, I have quite a few videos out. I started my channel 4 or 5 months ago, so holla at your girl. Hit the like button if you liked this video, share it, comment, give me your thoughts on the situation. So yeah, all right, love you guys, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.